Good morning, good morning. Oh, what a crazy morning. I know, it's a Monday. Mondays are this way, right? They kind of are. I'm still kind of putting things together for this morning, but I'm so glad you're going to be here. So glad. Let's see who we've got here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Come on, come on. I know. Okay. So I've had internet issues all morning long with different things. First, my Nest heater doesn't talk to the internet, so I had to work on that. And now it's my phone. Let me make sure I'm on the right. Oh, I'm good over there. All right, maybe it's just not going to come together for me. And then I was getting phone calls and texts and all sorts of things this morning. I know, it's Monday. We all want to get things done, right? I do. Let me see if I can... I know I can see you're here, but I just can't find out who's here. And tell me if it's freezing. Tell me if our sound is good, if picture is good, because on my side it's kind of freezing. It is cold outside though. Why not, right? All right, I can see you're here. Hey, Linda Judy, how are you? I just spent last week with Linda Judy. I did an event in Denton, Texas, and Linda was there, and it was so much fun. I tell you, those ladies know what they're doing. They went through that event so fast, and they all bought applauds, pretty much. It was a great, great event. Hi, Donna. Hi, Sally. Everything is good. Good, Mary and Melody. And Mindy, haven't heard from you in a while. Are you back home now, or are you still taking care of your parents? I know you were going back and forth, right? Cindy, things are good. And Pat says they're good. I am so glad. I feel like I haven't done this in a while, and it has been a while because I've been on the road so much. And really, I tell you, that road is not closing. There are lots of things even on the road right now. And so many that I've just got to get my ducks in a row, and they're swimming pretty good. Danny, good morning. New to your group. I have to take my Applaud out of the box. We're going to talk Applaud today, so you're going to get it out of the box, and you're going to be so confident in whatever you do, you are going to love it. Totally. You're going to love it. I know you are, because the second I sat at this machine, I loved it. I didn't think I would. And Paula from Arizona. Let's see. And Susan is here. Vicky and Candy and Donna and Sally. Thank you so much. Now you remember that in order to be in the drawing, because we're going to have a drawing, it's been a while, hasn't it? We did a drawing on our email last week, and today I'm going to get that wrapped up. So Sharon, I'm sorry it's taken me so long, but I've been gone. But I'm here for a couple of days, and I say a couple of days, I really only mean a couple of days. Because then I'm taking off to Oma Darlings in Kentucky, Beaver Dam, Kentucky, or Hereford, however you want to say that, because she said she's kind of moving back and forth. I guess they're right next to each other, but they're just small towns, and we're excited to be there. So if you are anywhere near Oma Darlings, I would love to see you. I know Linda Judy drove quite a ways to come to Denton, Texas, and it was fun to have her there. I've known Linda for a long time. All right, let's see if I can get this to the right spot here. Mindy said she's still going back and forth to take care of her mom. She's doing better, so I'm able to be home a little more. And Marianne says she's excited to learn about her Applaud. Well, so am I. I tell you, once you learn, it's like any of the surgers. And maybe I just love the surgers. They just seem like a tough, good machine. And the Applaud is no different. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And Norma has joined us. I can't remember what thread I was on. I was on a thread. I know I was. I just kind of lost it. Threads. Okay, so you do need to comment on this. So if you're watching later, you got to comment. You got to watch it and then comment. So, just say something like, the microfeet are amazing. I mean, once you see what they do, you're going to say that. And maybe you have an Applaud. Maybe you're thinking about getting an Applaud. Let me tell you my experience with the serger thing. I think I've shared this with you before, but I'm going to repeat it because to me it's amazing. When they first invited me to go back to St. Louis to do some training, I didn't know what training it was going to be, had no idea. I kind of thought maybe it was going to be a surgery, and this was last May, so almost a year ago. Almost. Can I say that? Oh, no, definitely not. You know, I forget what season we're in. I know it's getting cold, but I don't know if we're going into cold or going out of cold, because you can't tell by going in the store, because they have Christmas up all year long, right? You can't really tell. So it wasn't a year, but it was clear last May. And so I went back there and I thought it's going to be probably something applaudish. And that was okay with me because something surgerish, because I love the surgeries. But I kept thinking, you know, I've got a Triumph. I love it. Please don't change it. Let me keep my Triumph. I don't want to have another new machine. I love my Triumph and I just love it. And so I went back there thinking, okay, I'll keep an open mind and I will learn this new machine they're going to show me. I will teach it, but do I really need it? I didn't think I did. And they unveiled it. I mean, unveiled it literally because they were all covered up. We couldn't even see it before the instructor came in. We just sat there in front of these machines with a sheet over it. That's what we did. And then we pulled the sheet off and I says, okay, it's a serger. I mean, I kind of thought it was going to be a serger. It's a serger. It looked different than my Triumph, so I thought, okay, I'll listen, I'll learn, but I don't want it. So if any of you are saying that, I was in the same boat. But then the first stitch I took on this new machine, I loved it. I had to have it. I kept saying all day, I really want to take this machine home with me. I want to play with it. I want to toy with it. I want to make things. And they said, well, we're sorry, this is not going to be released till August. So, you know, that's the way it is, sorry. But by the end of the day, Charlie, who was one of the guys that developed this machine, Charlie and Chris did it, he came in with that sly little look on his face and he says, by the way, you get to take one home today. And I was so excited. I could not wait to have this machine in my home. And I'm still really excited. I still love it. In fact, last night I laid awake thinking, okay, can I do this with it? Can I do that? And I was thinking of different ways to put a zipper in. I mean, I put a zipper in, but I was trying to think of another way to do it. And I'm still working on it because I want to push it. I want to see what else I can do. And I'm so excited. Norma said she's taking a break from house cleaning. I'm glad you're here. Danny said she had the opportunity to play with one. I have a few projects lined up. So Danny, did you buy a machine yet? I should find out how many people are going to have bought the machine because I'll tell you, if you're here, I want to show you all that I've done. Vicki said, looking forward to see how the micro feet work. Have not purchased them yet. Excited to learn. And Linda says the Applaud is amazing. We do know that, huh? Jennifer said she just got her micro feet. Can't wait to use them. And Patricia said, I'm looking forward to learning about this amazing machine. I am too. Faith from South Dakota is watching for both my new baby lock machines. Okay, I want to take a break for just a minute. And then we're going to get right into the Applaud. I have to tell you, this really made me laugh. You know, I have chickens, and you know, I love my chickens. They've been going through the molting stage, most of them, many of them. And I think when they molt, they get really moody. And you're going to say, well, how do chickens get moody? Well, you learn their personalities, they get pretty moody. There are some of my ladies that don't like to be picked up and don't like to be touched and don't like to be approached. They just like their food. And that's okay. I can give them that space. But I have some that are just so cuddly. They'll jump on my lap and they will snuggle up to me and just sit there and want me to pet them. So I do, and I love it. And there's some that'll look right in my face. Like, then they jerk their heads around. They're so cute. And I've got one that's got the prettiest eyes. So beautiful. They're different. It's amazing how different they can be. All right, so I've laid it out that I love my chickens, right? Well, on one of the trips I have been on the last few weeks, I got a text from my daughter, and she said, one of your chickens died. And and she said it was one of the gray ones. And I thought, oh, I've got 3, 4 gray ones. Wonder which one it is. And I get home and I went out and counted the chickens, and sure enough, one was missing. And I looked at the gray ones, tried to figure out which one, because they're molting, so they don't quite look the same. Trying to figure out which one had died. And I know, is anybody's heart breaking like mine? Because my heart was breaking, because I thought, oh, these poor little girls. And, well, you know, they have a life, right? And when theirs ends, it's kind of sad. Anyway, I had initially thought it was Larry. We have a chicken called Larry. My husband's name is Larry. And so I have a daughter down an hour away, and she also has chickens. And so we keep in touch about our chickens all the time. And so I wrote to her and I says, oh, one of my chickens died. I just text her and she says, oh, which one? And at first thing I said, I think it's Larry. So and we're talking about chickens, right? We know, she knew I was talking about Larry the chicken, not Larry the husband. But she put in the family chat that I had just let her know that Larry had died. Well, my other kids, I got 8 kids, they all went crazy. Larry died? Why didn't somebody tell me? What happened? And it was blowing up and they're saying, what happened? And then I had to go on and say, it was Larry the chicken. So that was kind of funny. And then after I had spent a little bit more time with him, I realized it wasn't Larry that had died. It was Lucy. Lucy was my fluffy butt. She had the prettiest back end that you'll ever see on a chicken. Fluffy and soft and just poofy. She was beautiful. Anyway, she was the one that passed away. So I had to retell my kids that it was Lucy that died, not Larry. Anyway, so much for my chickens, right? I hope you guys love and enjoy. I know you all have your pets, right? Well, they're my pets. I don't have to walk them. They walk themselves. All I have to do is feed them and water them and gather the eggs. Although they've been molting, so they haven't been laying eggs. I haven't had an egg for about 2.5 weeks at all, not one. 12 chickens, not one egg, but that's okay. They're resting and recuperating. Oh, the life of a chicken herder, right? All right, I love my chickens. Okay, so I know that 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday is probably, well, it's 5 o'clock for England, right? Some of you it's noon, and some of you you're still in bed, and that's okay, because we're all over the place, and we're getting more all over the place, and I love that you are joining me. I think the first thing I want to do is thread the machine up. Are you okay with that? And I'm going to start from the very beginning so that you can see. If you don't already have a type of serger, then maybe you don't know how to thread the needles. Maybe you don't know how to thread the looper. So I'm going to bounce over to here, and we're going to look at the machine. I'm going to talk to you about different features of the machine. If you haven't got a machine, then you're going to say, I want this. When you see what it will do, you are going to, I think they outdid themselves on this machine. Totally outdid themselves. So I'm going to be moving this camera around quite a bit because I want you to be able to see everything she has going on. And first of all, I'm going to go clear up to the top. You have all these threads. Clear up further than that. I'm going to bring it down a little bit so you can see it. These are my thread guides. This is my telescoping thread guide. I want that all the way up. And if you turn it, the little post, it will actually snap in place. And that's what I want it to do. Okay, we are going to thread this girl up. Let's start with, well, let's do the needles while we're up here. Okay, so if you have a Triumph, you know that your needles are going to be threaded up over here. This one is different. It does not have any overlock needles. It only has cover and chain needles. So I'm going to take it back through and snap it in the thread guide back there. It has to be snapped in. If you don't have it in all of these places, then it changes the tension on the thread because we have no tension dials, nothing. All the gears are inside and they go back and forth like this. And that is the only thing that controls this thread is how you've got it in the dial, or you have to have it in your back thread guide, you have to have it down here, and it's going to go through here. Then it's going to go under this little chute right here. This kind of looks like a coal chute to me. And it goes underneath that, up and over, and then behind the thread guide in the front here. So I'm going to come back down here so you can see a little better. I hope I don't make you dizzy today. So it's going to go behind that thread guide and between those two posts right there. Then it will go inside that thread guide. Okay, now we've got the number 1 needle ready to go. I'm going to switch this over to number 1. But first, I have to put it in threading position. I'm going to put it down in threading mode. I'm going to turn my hand wheel, and you're going to look right here. My pipe is going to engage. Now I'm threading my needles. That has nothing to do with the pipe, but it puts the needles in the right position. So I'm going to do it. And there it pops into place. If you've got other sergers, other brands, then this might be a little new to you. I really love it. Totally love it. Having those pop into place is amazing. Okay, and now I've got it. My needles are in the right position. I'm going to put my foot down so I have more room to see. I put this in C1 because that's the one I'm going to do. I'm going to put my needle threader down, and all I have to do is put my thread down there in, whoops, I got it behind one of the other needles. That wouldn't work. And now it pulled it right through. Do you see how that worked? Oh, it didn't. I guess I was misled there. There I go. Now it pulled it through. Sometimes it'll pull it right up with the needle threader, and then it's a little hard to get it off the catch. This one was just perfect. All right, I'm going to go back up to the top. We're going to go back up to the top. And we're going to pull the next thread, and this one is the C2. I'm going to take it through that thread guide. There we go, under the chute, up over. And I am ready now to thread that needle. Let's go back down here. I know, if you guys already have a serger, you're saying, oh, I already know this stuff. Oh, that's okay. All right, so now I've got it in there. I'm going to put this over to C2. I'm going to put it down in there. And it pulls it right through like magic. This is really the easiest one to thread. All right, so I'm not going to move the camera back up. You remember the drill. You put it through the back. You put it under the guide. It goes under there. Goes under the chute, up and over, in the thread guide, in that thread guide. Move it over to C3. I've got some other threads in my way. Let me get them out of the way just a little bit. Okay, this is good, because so that one stayed caught on my little threader, and it's a little hard to release it, so all I do is take that down a little bit, get my thread off of it, and it is done. All right, there are my needle threads. And I'm going to put them back to the right side of my needles, or my foot, and it really doesn't matter what I do with those right now. Now I'm going to do my looper. Okay, so I still have it in threading position down here. I've got it in the threading. I've got it in the threading here. Now all I have to do, I'm going to turn this clear around. I want you to see how this goes. It goes up through my telescoping thread guide. I'm going to put it in this thread guide from front to back. Take it out the back. I don't want to get my hands in your way, and I know that they are. And I've got it through that one. And now I want to go under this wing right here. It goes under that wing, up and over, right through there. And that's going to come out the front. And then I've got a little thread guide right there. That's all. And now I've got to just put it right there in that port. And I want to take out about 15 inches. If you take it to your lap, that's good. And I'm going to put just a little bit in there. I don't care how much. And then I'm going to push this button right here. In the meantime, I'm going to open my door, and I'm going to see that the thread comes out over here. I don't want to touch it. I just leave it in there. I'm not going to pull it out. I'm just going to make sure it gets that far. And I'm going to have to turn it so I can see. There, it's in there. It's dark thread. It's hard for me to see too. I'll shut my door, close this. And now with it in threading mode, I can't shut my door. So I have to take it into serging mode. There you go. My needles and my looper are threaded. And now you don't have to do this, but I do like to. I'm going to test my stitch and get all those extra threads out of there. And the first stitch that you take has to be in fabric because this is a cover stitch. That's the way it's going to form the stitch. And I've got a lot of threads in there still, so let me make sure it looks like one of my needles came unthreaded. I've got something caught in there. I had really too many threads hanging out the back. So let's see, let's troubleshoot and see what we've got going on here. It looks like I have some extra thread. So let me pull that thread right out of there. So I had my wipers engaged at that point, and I probably don't want to have my wipers engaged when I'm just testing my stitch. So let me get some of this. And I had way too many threads. Let me see, do you have any comments? Any? Hi, Lynn. Oh, it's buffering. All right, so I apologize for that if that's what it's doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rethread my needles. So this is my right needle. So you get to watch this all over again because I love it so much. I do. I love threading these needles. I think they're amazing. And this is my C2 needle. I'm going to put it down, put it in. And you know that in order to thread these needles, I needed to put it back down in threading position. Also, if you're using any other kind of a needle besides the one it calls for, those needle holes might be in the wrong position. So you might have trouble threading your needles. And if you do have trouble, just switch back to the needle that it calls for. And I'm using all different colors of thread. Okay, I have a beautiful stitch right there. Beautiful on front and beautiful on back. That's the thing about these baby locks. No matter what you do, it's going to be a beautiful stitch. I want to point out some of the things. What Cindy says, what needles do you use? You're going to use these right here. They're, excuse me, let me move it over here a little bit more. It is right there is EL X705CF. So that's what it is. And they're 8012 or 9014. So those are the needles that you can use. Isn't that great? It's right there in front of you. All right, well, I've got the door open. I am going to point out that your other sergers have a little pictures in here telling you how to thread everything. This one has a QR code. So if you want to know how to thread it, just scan that with your phone. It'll take you right to the right spot and it will teach you how to thread it so you don't have to keep this door open. All right, we've got our needles and we have our looper threaded. Let me point out some of the wonderful things on this machine. This is your looper tension, which your thread guide will tell you where to have it. There's your needle tension, and that one, these two I really don't mess with a whole lot. Another thing I do is that I don't know if you can see it with the door there. You can't see it with the door open or door shut. Down here, if you have a machine and if you have any of the sergers, you'll know that this is your length. This is the only knob you have. You don't have a blade, so you don't put it up and down, and you don't have a width. So the width is determined by how many needles you have in and where their placement is. All right, this is a speed control, so I can slow myself down if I want to. It has a wonderful, right up here in the top, it has a wonderful needle holder. That's a magnet. So all those times you've been taking needles out and you lose them, you don't have to anymore. They're right up there on top. And then this is the wonderful feature that this has been added to this machine that makes it really miles above any other machine. I have my needle up, needle down. That's what it does. But then I have a light over here. This is telling me that this time it will end my stitch with the needle up. If I have it down there, it will end my stitch with the needle down. This is a feature we have on our sewing machines, but never on a serger. But now we do. I can end with my needle up or my needle down. Now, when would I have my needle down? Because on a serger, you really don't get a choice until you now. But the reason I want to have my needle down is if I'm doing a chain stitch with my decorative stitches, and I'll show you a project that I did where I have my needle down. If I'm going to be turning my fabric or something, if I don't want it to lose its place, needle down. Most of the time, I'm going to have it needle up, but I have a choice, and this really comes in handy. It also has the knee lift down here, which I use all the time. This is something that's really important to me if I'm doing some applique. Yes, I can applique on my serger. This is when I'm going to have my foot up, foot down, right down here with my knee lift, or I'm going to be using this, probably both of them. All right, so that is that for the wonderful features, because I've already showed you how to thread the thing, and that to me is amazing. I love that needle threader. All right, so we are ready to go. We have our cover stitch in there. Now I can have 1, 2, or 3 needles. It doesn't matter. I have the triple cover stitch in because it's really my favorite one to use. But now I want to thread my wipers. So first of all, I have to make sure that my wiper guys right there, my wipers, they're just my wipers, that they're going to be in the right position. So if I do my needle up, you can see that there's 1 position, 2 position, 3 position, and 4th position. 4th position has them all the way open. Now that might be really hard for you to see. Let me see if I can get you down there closer so you can see the different positions. I'm going to try hard. Okay, look at the wipers. There's 1 position, and they aren't numbered. I just said this is 1st position. They really aren't numbered, but this would be 1 position. There's 2. See, they didn't move very far. There's 3. Looks like it's open. It's not open. There is 4. 4th position, or this position, is all the way open. That means the wipers are all the way out there. That means it is ready to thread the wipers. So this is the button you want to use to get it in the right position. All right, so I'm going to thread my left one first, and it doesn't matter which one you thread. I'm going to come back out. So once again, I have put it up through my telescoping thing, and there is a guide. This is not a tension. This is just a guide. I'm going to put it right in there. See, it's going to snap into place. I'll do that again. There, you heard that snap. All right, so if I have, this is just regular serger thread. If I had thick thread that didn't snap into place, or maybe it held it back too far to go through under my wipers, I might want to use this alternate guide right here. This is just a hole. There's 1 for each. So if your thread does not fit through comfortably through here, if it's pulling on your thread too much, then you may want to use that alternate guide. I'm going to put it under that guide, under this guide. This little wing goes up and around. Then you have to pull it into the chute right here. And now it's ready to go in the hole in the front of the foot. And then it's going to go into that wiper over there. Now, the left wiper is higher than the right wiper. So if you are using a thicker thread, now I've just put it through that hole right there. If you're using a thicker thread, you may want to put that thicker thread in your left wiper because it's higher. And if I'm only using 1 wiper, I'm probably going to be using the left wiper. Now this is where my tweezers come in handy. I didn't really use my tweezers much when my other serges, but this one I do. I'm going to just put it through with my finger. And this one may pull out nicely without getting my tweezers down there. But you might just put it through the hole, through the wiper, and then use your tweezers to pull it out because you want that one to be out. All right, and I'm going to take my next thread, and it is going to go under the guide, under the wing, up and over, into the chute, and then it's going to go down through the hole. And if ever you have crazy threads, this is a little more difficult to thread. I'm just using serger thread today. I love to use the crazy threads, the metallics, the thick 12 weights. All right, now I'm going to put it in my right wiper, And this one, I definitely have to use the tweezers to pull it out. All right, so I've got it out. It is ready to go. It is set up. It is ready to go. Oh, Norma says, it just buffers. I just hit the 15-second rewind arrow. It repeats a little, then plays the line. I am so sorry. Linda, I'll get to that in a minute. How do you disengage the wipers? I will certainly tell you that, Cindy. Oh, Janice, off to see the granddaughter. Going to watch the replay. Please do. I'm sorry about the buffers. And we have some French. I love that, Helene. I'm so sorry about all of those. How do you disengage? Let me cover this first before I go on to everything else. Cindy, you want to know how to disengage the wipers? There's a lever right under there, and you cannot see it. Oh, there it is. You can see it. Okay, you don't see it unless you look for it, but it's right there. So when I push it down, that means those wipers are disengaged. And I don't want to get my threads all tangled, but maybe I'll chance it. Because normally I would take the thread out of my wipers if I'm not going to use them. So I've disengaged it. We'll see if it plays with me a little bit. I'm good. The wipers are not moving. I have them threaded, but they are not moving. If you have them threaded and you're midstream with your wipers and you disengage them, you may have a little bit of an issue with your threads getting tangled. But that did not, so I want to re-engage it. I'm going to put it back up. There, my wipers are engaged. And now let's see if I can get this to give me a beautiful stitch. Now this will be the first stitch with my wipers engaged, and you don't want to take those straight back. If they go straight back, they're not going to be in the right position for your wipers to engage. So I've got my threads kind of going out to the side like that. Not straight out, but kind of at an angle back. I'm going to take a few stitches and I'm going to trim those off. And the reason I'm going to trim them off is because remember when I first started this and I had too many threads in there, I don't want to get them tangled on my wipers. And look at that. That is a beautiful, beautiful stitch. So what this gives me is a top cover stitch. So many times we have used the cover stitches as a beautiful stitch, but we'd have to sew blindly because we'd have to sew upside down. So if we wanted this to be on the top of our project right here, we would have to sew like this. That means the right side was over there and we could not see where we were stitching. Now this gives us stitches on top of our fabric where we can see every stitch we take. Okay, let's experiment a little bit. Let me see, are there other things? Linda says, if you want the stitches to be the same color as the backing fabric, which needle do you use? At the same time, I want the front stitches a different color to match the front fabric. Well, Linda, that would be, the looper would match your back fabric because that's what you're going to see on the back, right there. You see a little bit of the needle, but you're not going to see a lot, but you are going to see some. And on the top, if you want the needles to match your fabric, then you need to thread your needles in the same color. And then your decorative stitches can be any color. I just think it's so much fun. And Norma, yes, we applique, and I'll show you what I've got done over here. And Susan is back, lost us for a second. And Danny says, Wonderful will have a Black Friday sale. Their mystery pack are a great way to build a stash of decorative threads. Good. I love Wonderful threads. Norma says it's working better now. Well, that's good. I'm so glad. All right. So you can have 2 wipers in. You can have 1 wiper in. And if you're only going to use 1 wiper, it only makes sense, and it really doesn't matter which one you choose because it's going to look the same as wiping 1 thread back and forth. I always use my left wiper when I'm using 1 wiper, but it doesn't matter. Let's see if there's anything else I want to tell you before I start into something else. I think that's it. I think down here you've got your wipers. Oh, one thing I want to caution you on is that when you've got a lot of thread tails like this and you go in and you start to sew again, those thread tails, if they get caught on your wipers, it will stop your stitch. and it will be ugly, and you'll have to stop and pull the threads out. So make sure you don't have any stray threads hanging around to get caught on those wipers. And if you do get something caught, stop immediately, clean it out, clear it out, no matter where you are in that stitch. If you have to unpick something, then you got to unpick something, because you don't want to have anything tangled on those wipers. And sometimes maybe when you're stitching, listen to how quiet it is. You'll get used to what it sounds like. If sometimes you hear a funny sound, like maybe a clicking sound that is not something you've heard before on your Applaud, then stop, clear all the threads out, and make sure nothing is caught on those wipers. With your cover and chain, really that's pretty standard. They don't really get caught on each other, but you've got some moving parts right here going back and forth. And you don't want to cause more strain on them to where they can't move back and forth, because if you break or bend anything on this foot, you have to replace the whole foot. You can't just maybe take it in and have your tech replace one little part. It doesn't work that way. This one has to be completely replaced. So, hey Karen, I'm so happy to see you. All right, so that's what we've got on this part. I do want to show you that you also have a quilt guide that you have with it, and it fits through there's a little hole on the back. Let me see if I can take you down there. Okay, so you can see that I have a little screw back here, and there's a hole on the back of the foot that slides into, and then you're going to tighten that screw up. When that screw is tightened, then you can move that up if you're not using it, or have it down. This will help you make perfect channel quilting, or rows and rows if you want them 2 inches apart. Whatever you want them to be, they are going to be amazing. And I usually just leave that screw back there. In fact, this morning as I was looking for it, I thought, oh, where's my screw? Oh, it's in my machine. That's because I just want it to stay there. I don't want to lose it. All right, let's talk a minute about couching. Again, I'm going to move you back out. No, maybe I'll leave you there. Where do you want to be, right? All right, that gives you a good view. All right, I want to talk about these micro inserts, the feet that fit right in there. Now, this machine comes with, when you buy it, you'll get 2 different feet. You'll get this one right here. It'll actually come on your machine. And the other foot is this one right here. Excuse me. So this would be your cover and chain foot, if you wanted to just do cover and chain. But what I do is I leave that foot on, because if I don't want to use my wipers, I just disengage them. And when I want them, I've got them right there. But if you want to switch it out, you definitely can, because this foot does come with it. But then you think about all the different feet you have with your Triumph. They're not going to fit this. This one and that one up there, and you'll get some in your Applaud foot kit. I think there's a Teflon foot and a clear foot. They can be interchanged in this, but the other feet for your other machines, just keep with your machines. All right. What they have done here, which I think is amazing, so that you don't have to change out your feet, you can purchase a 6-foot micro insert kit. You can also get the ones that are stitch in the ditch. So there, and you really can't see that very well because it's clear. But that is my stitch in the ditch foot. I'll take it over to the other camera in just a minute. But right here, I have, this one is my 5mm cording foot. And here's the thing, you didn't even know this. So, but don't lose these. I'll show you what I have. You guys all got yours in this cute little pack where they fit in there. And mine did not. Mine did not come that way because I purchased them before they came to the market. So right here, if you pull right there on that plastic part of the foot, I got my foot down, by the way. This just slides out. That slides out. This is the one that comes with your machine. It's got the markings on it. And you know those markings tell you where those needles are going to land. So those are very important markings. I'm going to set it right there. And if I were going to sew with this now, I would definitely put that in a safe place because I don't want to lose it. And then this one with my foot down just slides right in there and snaps into place. And now I'm ready to do some cording if I wanted to. Okay, I'm going to put my foot down here so I don't lose it. I have a little place in my tray. And I think I will do some cording. So what I'm going to do, and what it does is it guides your cord, whatever you're going to use, it guides it through. And this is a 5. And if you have your cording feet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to put some of that yarn that I love to couch with. And this one probably doesn't need it that wide, but I'm going to use it. And it's just going to guide it in there. And all I have to do is stitch it down. And just like with your Triumph, you have a cording foot, it's going to guide it into place. So do you see how perfectly, I'm going to take this over to the other camera so you can see it better, but it perfectly keeps it right into place. All right, I'm going to pop that guy out. See how easy he is to pop out. The hard part is don't lose them, okay? Don't lose them. All right, now the next one I'm going to pull up is my 2.5. Now my 2.5, let me pull this back out here again. My 5 has one space underneath, just one space, all right? 2.5 and the 2 and the 1.6 all have a divider right in there. So if you wanted to do 2 rows or even 1 row, you could. You can just choose 1 row or 2 rows, and I'm going to actually use 2. Okay, slide in there. I'm at the wrong angle because I need to have the machine towards me. All right. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to feed another one of my favorite things to do. I do like to do decorative cording and things. So I've got some, and this is just another yarn. And I'm going to put this, I'm going to take a stitch actually, just so it will stay in place. I'm going to put my needles down because I can. And I'm going to slide that cording up in there. So normally I'd have this coming right out the back, but this time I'm just going to slide it in there. Have it in the right spot. All right, let me get my tweezers so I can put it in the right spot. And it guides it right in place for me. You're going to see that. See how beautiful that is? That has put that right down. Now another thing I can do is that I can also, not only can I put cording in there, but I can put tape in there. And when I say tape, I'm going to actually use ribbon. Let me get another piece of fabric here. I'm going to take a couple of stitches in there. And the thing you have to do with this machine is you just have to try things out and say, will it do this? Will it do that? And then you say, yes, it will, because it will. And like I say, normally I would have this extending out the back, and I'm not today. But I am going to put 2 rows of ribbon. Now this has a taping foot, and that taping foot will allow you to put just flat pieces, like I could put 1 wider ribbon in it. But this time I'm just using 2 rows to show you how easy it is and how fun it is to couch that. Oh, dang, I like that. I really do. All right, now I'm going to pop that off. See how easy that is to take on and off? And now I have my taping foot. And this is going to give you just a nice space right there. Let me see if I can pull another. I don't have a foot in there right now. I took the other one out, so I'm going to put my taping foot in. And this will allow you, and I'm not going to change out my needles, so it's maybe not going to look the best because I'm just going to leave those needles in there. But what it does, it guides it in there. All I have to do is guide my fabric. All right. Oh, I really like that. Okay, let's go over to the other camera. Oh, Linda, you know that I love that yarn, huh? All right. So I've got some little samples here to show you that we just did. So let me pull them out, bring them over, and bring them under the right camera. Okay. I actually have, I kind of have a mess here. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, if you ever wanted to use this furry stuff, so what I'm going to do with this furry stuff is that I'm going to use my chenille brush and fluff that out. So this is what it looks like when it's flat, but this is what it looks like when it's fluffed out. Isn't that fun? So this yarn is called Fur Rill. Fur Rill. In fact, let me grab one of them, one of the packages, so you can see what that is. And I'm also going to grab the package of the other yarn that I have here, because these took me a while to find, and I want to make sure you know what I'm getting. So this is what this one's called. It's called Fur Rill by KFL Collections. Fur Rill, that's what it's called, and it comes in all different colors, and I have quite a few of them. Yep, I'll show you all of those, Diane, you bet. And then this one right here, this is a yarn. This is called a yarn, but it's a tube. It's really a fun tube. I'm going to try to bring it down closer. That's about as close as I can get. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like a yarn. It looks like a rolled up piece of, I don't know what. I love it though. And this is what it's called. Bernette Maker Home Deck. I don't know what else to tell you on that. That is, and I believe I had to go on Amazon and look for this. This was hard to find. I knew what I was looking for when I looked for it, because I had seen someone use it, and I wanted this tube. I wanted this because I thought it looked so cool. And that's what it is. So it's a Bernette Maker Home Deck. And the other one is Fur Rill. So these are the samples that I did over there just now. So this one I did with the taping foot. I could actually have used a wider ribbon on that one, but I think that one is so fun. You could also put elastic in it if you are doing like a sleeve or something where you need to pull the elastic. And this one I have 2 rows of ribbon put down with my cording foot. And I think the fact that I have all of these feet and I don't actually have to change the foot out. Does anybody have any questions? Danny, you wanted to know what the extremes were that you can play in terms of yarn. If you're going to couch it, anything that can fit under the foot, you can put under. If you're going to put it through the wipers, it's got to fit through that hole. I've gone down to a 12 weight, and I love the 12 weight. I've done a 6 weight, and I like that one okay. When you get down to 6 and 4, you have to be kind of careful of how wide your stitch is. I have really, and I'm going to show you that sample in just a minute. In fact, let's go to the samples right now. All right, so this is the one that I did with, let me tell you my thought process on this before I tell you what I've got here. All right, so when I saw this yarn, I loved it. And they weren't sewing with it, they were making sweaters out of it and blankets out of it, and it's really cool, or hats or scarves. And I thought, what's going to happen? And actually, Chris had kind of planted the seed on this one, Chris Tyron from Baby Lock. And she had done something with it. And I think, okay, so I had to go out and search and find this stuff. And I really, really loved it. And so I thought, what's going to happen if I do rows and rows and rows? So this is what I did. I did rows and rows and rows of this, just couching it down and couching it down. And then I fluffed it all up and I made a bag out of it. So this is my little, and this is a class actually on my website. And it's fun. And that camera is way too close. You can't really see, right? Let's take it back out. So this one, and then I looked at it and I thought, well, anybody could look at that and say, I could actually just go buy fur and just make it. Well, you could. It wouldn't be the same because it's not going to be this fun little yarn stuff. So I looked at that and I thought, okay, I need to be able to sew it with one strand at a time. So I did this couching, and how I did this is that I first drew my design out so I knew where I was going, and then I just used my knee lift a lot, and I followed that design and couched this just like that. And I really, really like it. And then when I got my border done, I couched it around the border just to tie it all in together. And once you fluff it out, it is so fun and so pretty. I like those. All right. And here is another sample of the couching. And one of you said, yes, applique. This is appliqued right here with my narrow cover stitch and two loopers, or excuse me, two wipers. That's a new term we have to get used to saying. It's not loopers, they're wipers, because they're on top. And it goes back and forth like that, and lays those threads down, and then those threads are stitched into the stitch. It's really amazing. So right here, I just use a narrow cover stitch, and I just went around it using my knee lift a lot. And then I had drawn this design out, and I put my leaves on there, and I used a single needle, just one, just the chain stitch, but I have two loopers in there. And this is 12 weight thread, so it was kind of fun. And then I came down here, and I went up and down for the grass. And then of course I went right around here with another stitch, and then my other stitch on the edge. All right. Okay, here's my study in when I talk to you about the width of the length of your stitch. Now the width is determined by how many needles you have in, but the length of your stitch is determined right here. This is a 4. I like that look. And then I thought, okay, let's go out to a 3. So these rows are in a 3. I went to a 2. I don't like it nearly as much. It seems like it puts too much thread. It kind of loses the effect of even what the thread is. And then down here, and I keep this so I show you when I come to when you see it. I went down to a 1.5. I did not like it at all. So I quickly went back to a 4. That's how easy it was. But this right here was bound with the double fold bias binding attachment. So there's my double fold bias binding attachment with my Applaud right there. So this is a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1 I didn't like, and then back to a 4. And then and this is one wiper, and then I used, this is a 12 weight, I just used my double fold bias binder attachment. So if you've got a Triumph and you have that big 29 bag kit of feet and attachments, know that most of those attachments are going to work on your Applaud, and you can use them that way. Let me show you what I did here. So this one, first of all, I wanted to see if I could do a quilt. So I made a quilt block. And then I thought, well, I don't want to do a whole quilt because that's hard to carry back and forth to shows. So I just made it into a bag. And so there is my quilt block. So imagine what you could do if you had a whole quilt like this. You could even do this sashing around it and then do another quilt block. And here is the back, because I can sew in curves. I don't even need a curve foot. And look how fun that is. Then let's come up here. Here I have the belt loop binder, the smaller one, and I have made 3 belt loops on my Triumph. And then I went back with my Applaud and connected those belt loops together. And if you can see here, I'm pulling them apart very slightly, but I wanted a wider strap, so that's how I got that one. And this one right here, this is one that we do in the event that we come around to the stores and do. This is the belt loop binder, the larger one, on the Applaud, and there I have just made a strap. And here I have put a zipper in. Yes, put the zipper in. I didn't do any other stitches. I just put the zipper in with my Applaud. There's the front and there's the back right there. And there you have that beautiful cover stitch back, and there you've got it. All right, does anybody have any questions? Oh, Linda wants to know the color of the yarn. She loves the colors. Let's see if I can figure this out. So this is made by yarninspirations.com. That's good to know. And I'm going to hold that up so you can, oh, maybe you can't read with the glare on it. If you can screenshot that, that might give you all the numbers that you need, Linda. I know I go in and try to find threads and I never know what I'm going to get. Okay, and this one right here, so it doesn't have a color name that I can see. This one does have a color name. This one is called Leaf Bird, but I've got orange. I've got like all the colors in the rainbow for this one. But this one's called Leaf Bird, color number 32. Does anybody have any questions on any of this here? We covered a lot of stuff today, and you're going to have to take my class if you want to sit and watch it over and over again, because we will talk about all of that. Love, love, love. I love it. Love the many yarns and cords and thread weights, so you can use so many different thread weights. Definitely. I have a whole stack of threads that I love to go through, and they are heavy threads. If you can put them in the wipers, use them. But be careful that they don't get caught somewhere, because they will tangle in your wipers. That is very, very true. Okay, Rhonda wants to know, can you use thicker fabrics like vinyl or two cotton sandwiches with foam? You just have to make sure that you can put it under the foot of your machine. This one does not come up as high as your Triumph will. It does not. So you need to make sure that it will. I know that you can sew on cork and vinyl, very definitely. Anything you can sew on your Triumph, really, it's the needles you're talking about. But when you get the wipers involved, you need to make sure that all of that can fit under the foot. So you don't want to do some really bulky things, no. And Vicki says, I love that bag. What a neat idea. It is fun. Hey, Terry. Sorry you're late. Well, you can always go back and watch. Jennifer, you can't find that for real locally, definitely. Well, there's one store that I found it in my area, just one, and we've got several stores. So I had to go online, and I can find it on Amazon. Would any of the faux fur yarns work? I know that Hobby Lobby carries a thinner faux fur, but it's not quite as thick, and so I didn't get it. I will like this one better. Do we need the microfiche to do yarn couching? You don't need it, but then you would need to just guide your yarn through it. I've done it without. In fact, when I did this, when I did the bird, clear over here. When I did the bird here, I did not have a yarn couching foot at that time. I just did it freehand, and she turned out okay. But those microfiche just turned it into a breeze. You don't even have to worry about it then. Okay, Vicki, we're going to have a class coming up soon. There is Vicki, thank you for pointing that out. There is a foot adjustment height on the side of the machine, but you're still a little bit more limited than you would be on your Triumph, because the foot on the Triumph does come up higher. I mean, I'm looking at them right now, and it does go up higher. And so you have to just be a little bit more careful. Just try something out first. Give it a try. See what it works. I know that when we're, like in our class, when we're doing the zipper, that part, actually this one right here, this is also one that we do in the class. We go over some thicker fabrics right here on the corners, and we slow down a little bit there to do them, because it is a thicker part and we're using heavier threads. So just keep in mind what you're using. Know that there are probably some limitations and you don't want to push it too far, but push it and see what you can do with it. So I want to say treat her gently, because it is a foot that I like, but yet she is made so tough and so strong, and your stitch is never going to like go out. Like with some machines that I have used, all of a sudden you don't have your stitch any longer. This is going to be very consistent and very beautiful. So you're going to get a beautiful stitch. Yes, Sharon, explore and experiment. Very definitely. Vicki, you've never tried a serger before? Oh, dang, you need to try them. I love them. There is so much you can do with them. And like I say, if you have a Triumph, don't get rid of it. Keep it. Because all those feet and all those attachments, not the feet, excuse me, will fit on your Applaud. And you've got it. Then you won't have to buy them again. Paula said, I was hesitant to buy the Applaud until I kept watching last month. Still can't thread the needles, but I will just keep trying. I think it's actually the easiest needle threader that Baby Lock has out there, besides the Solaris that just threads, you know, you just push a button. I think this one's pretty easy. So definitely there's a little place on the needle threader. It's got a little hook. You'll be able to feel it when you put that needle or that thread down by it that's going to pull it through. So yeah, just keep trying, keep playing with it and enjoy it because it is so much fun. You guys are going to make amazing things. And here's the deal. When you make something amazing on your Applaud, I want you to post it. I want to see what you're making because everybody, like I said, well, I don't think I said it today. There were 4 of us that came to that Applaud class in May, 4 of us, and we were sent home and asked to make samples. We all made samples for 3 months. And when we all got back together, there was only 1 sample that was duplicated or similar to each other, not duplicated, but they were similar. Everybody did different things with them. So what you do with your Applaud is going to be totally different than what I've done. And we're going to learn from each other. And that's what I like about it. Thank you, Paula. She says the Triumph video is great. Well, I tell you, I love the sergers, and so they have my full attention. I just think they are amazing with the things that you can do with them. All right, if you have any questions later on, still put them in here. But know that to be in the drawing, and I will come on tomorrow morning and announce the winner, to be in the drawing, you've got 24 hours. Make a comment. That's the only way I'm going to choose a winner is in the comments. So if you want to be in the drawing, you got to make a comment, and I will do a random pick the name, and then you'll find out who that is. And I will do that tomorrow morning. We have spent a whole hour on this, babe, and I tell you, I'm going to be spending the rest of the afternoon on her because I've got some things that I thought about in the night last night that I want to try, and I'm sure that you are too. Gloria said she has an Acclaim and she loves it. Then the things on this machine, I mean, I've got that wide throat on here on this Applaud, which I think every serger should have. I also have a Victory, pre-Victory, I have an Imagine, and it has that skinny little throat. That drives me crazy. But all it's made is to do the edge stitching. And one thing you will not get, I don't think I have that sample in here. Maybe I do. One thing you will not get if all you have is the Applaud, because you're going to have all the cover stitches, you'll have all the chain stitches. It will do 28 different stitch combinations, but when you add in how many different threads you can use, it is unlimited. But the one thing you don't get is the wave stitch. So if you've got the Triumph, you've got the wave stitch. And you're going to say, why do I need a wave stitch? Well, right here is the flat lock wave. Normally a wave stitch is on the edge of your fabric, like right here. That's what I use for the edge of my fabric. But you can also, on the Baby Lock ones that have the wave stitch, if you've got a machine like the Acclaim has the wave stitch, right? If you've got the wave stitch, you got it. Because then you can do this flat lock wave. And I believe this is very particular to the Baby Lock, exclusive there. And this is a stitch you can do on the inside of your fabric. If you've done a flat lock before, you'll understand what I mean, where you stitch it on the edge of the fabric and then open it up. That's your flat lock. And I love the flat lock wave. I use it all the time. All right, so give me your ideas. Tell me what things you love about your Applaud and what you want to do with your Applaud when you get it, because I think this is a machine everybody's going to get. They've been selling like hotcakes. So if you don't have it, then your neighbor does, right? I think so. Oh, Paula, thank you. I hope this does help you. And Paula, if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'm there for you. All right? I will help you. Oh, Danny said she installed zippers with the wave stitch flat lock. I'll bet that was pretty. I'm going to have to try that. I haven't done it. Now I'm going to. Now I'm going to. Thank you, Danny. All right, I will sign off, and that means you've got to watch this all the way through. You have to make a comment, and then I'll have the drawing tomorrow. Okay? All right, sleep well, everybody. But not yet. You got to go play on your Applaud first. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.